Have you ever thought about what's happening inside your body's cells? It's like a bustling city down there, right? And the workers that keep everything running smoothly, well, they're these incredibly tiny proteins.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we've all heard about how important protein's structure is, the way it folds into this three-dimensional shape.
Right, the shape is crucial to its function, like a key fitting into a lock.
Mm.
But what if I told you there's another piece of the puzzle that's just as critical?
Oh, I think I know where you're going with this. Their location.
Exactly. Knowing where a protein is located within the cell, its cellular address, so to speak, is just as important as its shape. And that brings us to some groundbreaking research from MIT. They've developed a new AI model called ProtGPS, and it's basically figuring out how proteins know where to go inside the cell.
It's pretty incredible stuff.
Today, we're going deep into this new tool. We're talking about what it can do for us in terms of understanding basic biology and why it's such a huge leap forward for tackling diseases and maybe even creating new treatments. We're looking at the work from the researchers at the Whitehead Institute and CSEL at MIT.
The goal is to help you understand this without getting bogged down in all the technical details. We just want you to grasp the core concepts and understand the potential impact.
So let's start with the basics. Everyone remembers from high school biology that cells have these different compartments, organelles, like the nucleus or mitochondria.
Right, those are like the well-defined rooms in our cellular house. But there's more to it than that. There are also these dynamic membraneless compartments.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about those.
So picture it like this. You have these specialized zones within a larger room where specific molecules gather to perform certain tasks. These zones can form and disappear as needed, adding this extra layer of organization.
I see. So it's not just about being in the right room, but also being in the right spot within that room.
Exactly. And that's why understanding a protein's precise location, is it in a specific organelle, or is it part of one of these dynamic assemblies? And who's it hanging out with there? This gives us a much deeper understanding of its role in a healthy cell and what might go wrong in disease.
It makes sense. But hasn't this been a big challenge for researchers? We have AlphaFold, which is amazing at predicting a protein's 3D structure just from its amino acid sequence. But we haven't had that same power to predict where a protein will actually end up in the cell.
That's right. While scientists have known for a while now that certain protein sequences act like localization signals, kind of like a zip code telling the protein where to go, we didn't have a comprehensive tool to predict location with the same level of detail and accuracy as AlphaFold does for structure. And this is where ProtGPS comes in.
So tell us, what can ProtGPS do? It's not just telling us in a general sense, like, oh, this protein hangs out in the nucleus, right?
Yeah, it's much more specific than that. It can predict a protein's localization to 12 different types of cellular compartments. And what's really exciting for understanding diseases is that it can predict whether a disease-related mutation in a protein will cause it to move to a different location. That could be a fundamental reason why many diseases develop in the first place.
Okay, but hold on a second. It gets even cooler than that, doesn't it? ProtGPS isn't just about predicting where a protein goes. You can also design new proteins that are engineered to go to specific compartments.
That's right. It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. It's like science fiction becoming a reality.
So how does it actually work? How can ProtGPS look at a string of amino acids and just know its cellular destination, or even create a new one with a specific address?
Let's think back to AlphaFold for a second. It figured out the relationship between the linear sequence of amino acids and the final folded three-dimensional shape of a protein. ProtGPS takes a similar approach, but it focuses on different regions within the protein regions that don't necessarily fold into stable structures, but they act like little sticky notes or tags.
So these are signals that tell the protein where to go.
Exactly. These signals help the protein bind to the correct location, particularly in those dynamic membraneless areas we talked about earlier. And they train the model on a huge data set of proteins with known locations, so it could learn those underlying signals or address codes that dictate localization. So it uses this code to either predict where a protein will go or design a new protein to target a specific location.
That's so cool. So AlphaFold cracked the shape code, and now ProtGPS is cracking the address code within the protein.
That's a great way to think about it.
So you talked about the connection to disease, and that seems really important. Can you explain a bit more about why a protein being in the wrong location could be bad for your health?
Absolutely. This is where it gets really interesting for you. The researchers had a hunch that many disease-associated mutations don't necessarily affect a protein's shape or its basic function, but they might cause problems by disrupting its location within the cell. It's like if a protein ends up in the wrong place, it can't interact with the other proteins that it needs to in order to do its job properly.
Oh, I get it. So it's like having a really skilled worker, but they keep showing up at the wrong department.
Exactly. And they tested this idea by feeding prot-GPS data on over 200,000 proteins with mutations known to be associated with diseases. And they were able to predict that many of these mutations would cause these proteins to end up in the wrong cellular compartment, suggesting that this mislocalization could be a hidden cause of many diseases.
So they saw a pattern there. Like a lot of mutations were leading to proteins ending up in the wrong place.
Yeah, they did. And to double check their predictions, they actually did experiments in living cells using 20 of these proteins. They tagged them with fluorescent markers so they could track them and see where they ended up. And it turned out that a lot of these mutated proteins did indeed end up in the wrong place.
Wow, that's really convincing evidence. So mislocalization could be a much bigger factor in disease than we previously thought.
It seems that way.
Now let's switch gears back to the protein design part. How did they create these new proteins that could go to specific places? Sounds like magic.
Remember that generative algorithm we mentioned earlier? It's a powerful AI that can design completely new protein sequences from scratch. But they didn't let it run wild. Instead, they guided the AI by telling it to design proteins that resemble naturally occurring ones. That makes sense, right? It's like using nature's playbook. It's a strategy that's often used in drug design because nature has already done a lot of the heavy lifting.
So it's not just randomly throwing amino acids together.
No, it's much more sophisticated than that. It's using the patterns it learned from the massive database of proteins with known locations. And it worked remarkably well. They instructed the algorithm to, let's say, design a protein that will go to the nucleolus, and it would then spit out potential amino acid sequences that fit the bill.
And did it actually work? Did they end up with proteins that went to the right destinations?
Yeah, they did. In one of their experiments, they challenged the AI to design 10 new proteins specifically targeted to the nucleolus, which is a compartment inside the nucleus of the cell. And when they tested these proteins, 4 out of 10 of them actually went straight to the nucleolus, and some of the others showed a tendency to go there too.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a pretty high success rate for designing something completely new and having it do what you want.
It is. It's not just about creating a protein. It's about creating a protein that functions in a specific way because of its specific location.
Exactly. So what are some of the potential applications of this technology? Where could prot-GPS really make a difference?
Well, the researchers believe that prot-GPS could become an essential tool for scientists in so many areas, like understanding how proteins work normally, how their function gets messed up in disease, and how to come up with new therapies. Just like AlphaFold has revolutionized structural biology, prot-GPS could do the same for understanding protein localization.
And if we're talking about therapies, the ability to design proteins that can target specific locations sounds like it could be a game changer.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine being able to design drugs that not only target the right molecule, but also accumulate in the precise location where that target is. This could make those drugs much more effective while also reducing side effects by making sure the drug mainly interacts with its intended target.
That's a huge step forward in personalized medicine. And it sounds like the researchers aren't stopping there. What else are they working on?
They want to expand the capabilities of prot-GPS even further. They're working on increasing the number of compartments it can predict localization to, trying out new therapeutic ideas based on these predictions, and pushing the boundaries of protein design even further to create proteins with even more sophisticated functions, not just location.
It's like they've uncovered this whole new language, the protein code for localization, and they've got this AI translator that can not only read it, but also write it. Create new things.
Yeah, it's a fantastic analogy. And Henry Kilgore, one of the researchers, said something that really stuck with me. He said, now that we know that this protein code for localization exists and that AI can actually understand this code and even create functional proteins using it, well, that opens up a whole new world of possibilities for research and applications.
So the takeaway for you, the listener, is that when we study a protein, it's not just about its shape or what it does on its own. It's also about where it does its thing inside the cell. It's all about location, location, location. And thanks to prot-GPS, we now have a powerful new tool that allows us to not just understand this crucial aspect of biology, but even design new proteins that can target specific locations within the cell.
Yeah.
It's not just what a protein does, but where it does it. And that has huge implications for your health and for treating diseases.
It really does. And it makes you wonder, what if we could really master this art of sending proteins wherever we want them to go inside the cell? What incredible new therapies could we develop? What new biological tools could we create? The possibilities are endless. Being able to not only understand, but also engineer these fundamental building blocks of life is a truly remarkable feat. And ProtGPS is a huge step towards realizing that potential. It's a brave new world of bioengineering, and it's all thanks to these tiny address codes hidden within proteins.
It's really exciting stuff. And who knows what amazing discoveries are waiting for us just around the corner. The future of medicine could look very different thanks to tools like ProtGPS, and it all comes back to understanding these tiny little proteins and where they go.
It's a testament to the power of AI and the incredible complexity of biology. It's an amazing time to be following these breakthroughs.
I completely agree. And thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of proteins and their fascinating secret addresses.
It was a pleasure.
Until next time.